Hello and welcome to another video on my DIY gardening YouTube channel. My name is Daniel and today I'm delighted to be sharing with you 10 of my favourite ground cover plants. This list includes plants for rockeries, covering hard surfaces and hiding bare patches of soil around your garden.
Aubrieta is a popular ground covering plant here in the UK. And I've grown it successfully on sloped ground, rockeries, gravel, along path edges, and even spilled it over walls and boulders. Flowering from March to May with a height of around 4 inches and a spread of around 32 inches, this plant is drought tolerant and prefers full sun. I've grown Aubrieta successfully in rockeries before and it cascaded beautifully over the rocks. I've also seen it on the top of walls and growing in spots with poor soil and little moisture. Number 2 on my list is forget-me-nots. Now these are the ultimate backdrop plant, and as you can see from the footage I'm showing you here, the classic combination is with tulips, alliums and other tall spring flowering plants. Reaching a height of around 12 inches and a spread equally of around 12 inches, I found them perfect for edging along paths and patios and mixing in amongst other plants. Creeping phlox is often grown in rockeries in UK gardens. This popular ground covering perennial can also be grown as a carpet under taller shrubs and trees. I've had success planting it along the edges of paths, driveways and patios. In my opinion, creeping phlox looks stunning and delightful when in bloom, a real eye catcher. This plant prefers full sun and will flower in April, May and often into June. Now, while hardy geraniums may not be a specific ground covering plant, I do find that they're perfect for filling in the spaces that are sometimes created by other plants that aren't quite yet in bloom. Quick growing and often producing hundreds of blooms against a mound of dense foliage. I use hardy geraniums to cover fading allium or tulip foliage or to fill voids in my garden. This perennial dies back in autumn and reappears in the spring and is a well-known space filler. Next on my list is Sedum. No list of ground cover plants for the UK would be complete without this plant. I've seen firsthand how the thick, fleshy foliage grows horizontally to form a dense mat, which pink blooms appear in the summer. I have seen it grown on eco-friendly roofs where it creates a natural habitat for wildlife. Sedum is the ultimate ground cover plant and requires no special care or attention once it is established. It does prefer a sunny spot and I've always found it to be drought tolerant and I've never had to bother watering it. Also known as Breckland thyme and wild thyme, this dwarf evergreen shrub was popular in the Edwardian era here in the UK when it was often grown as a lawn. While it's rarely seen these days, it does make for an unusual ground cover plant. Reaching no more than 15 centimeters high and spreading up to 50 centimeters wide, creeping thyme produces tiny pointy evergreen leaves and small purple blooms in the summer. Next on my list is Japanese spurge, which reaches 25 centimeters tall with a spread up to 1.5 meters, that's around 5 foot. This evergreen perennial is the ultimate mat forming plant for ground cover. Branches bear leathery leaves with jagged edges and small white flowers appear in the summer. Japanese spurge is part of the boxwood family, but from what I've seen is far more mat forming and spreads more horizontally than other members of this family. Lamb's ear is another classic ground cover plant that I've had success with in previous years. I've seen it fill space with dense, thick, velvety foliage that I can only describe as being woolly. I recommend silver carpet, which as the name suggests is the best variety for ground cover. Spiky stems with purple flowers are thrown up in the summer, but they don't distract from the low-level foliage, which is what lamb's ear is best known for. Bearberry is a low-growing evergreen dwarf shrub offering vigorous growth. Bears and birds love the fruits, so it will attract wildlife to your garden. The leaves on this evergreen shrub may turn purple in the winter before coming green again in the spring. It's a versatile plant that I've seen grown as ground cover, for trailing down walls, as edging around paths and patios, and also on slopes and embankments for erosion control. Creeping Jenny is a hardy perennial that produces gold and green lobe-like leaves which are on display throughout the year in all but the harshest of winters. While creeping jenny is a popular ground covering plant, it's equally at home trailing over the edges of pots and walls. As a native UK plant, I found that it prefers moist soil and full or partial sun, but it dislikes overly hot temperatures. I've grown creeping jenny over the edges of pots and large troughs in the past, and the trails are eye-catching and distinctive. Wild garlic is a slow-growing, evergreen, sometimes deciduous, creeping perennial that produces a carpet of kidney-shaped glossy foliage. While usually grown for their foliage, small purple blooms appear in the spring, but are typically hidden under the leaves. There are hundreds of plants in my local woods, and I've seen firsthand how they cover the ground very quickly, reaching a height of around 15 centimetres and a spread of around 30 centimetres. They prefer full or partial shade in woodland conditions.
So that's my list done. That's my 10 favourite ground cover plants. Now, have I missed off a personal favourite of yours? Do you agree or disagree with my list? Please do head down into the comment section. Feel free to leave a comment down there. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. That will help my channel to grow. I wish you all the best, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video.